Guys, my name is Alina Shaltsova. I'm an immigration attorney from New York. In today's live, we're going to be discussing the most recent immigration news. House Republicans are introducing a new immigration bill. What do you think? Is it going to be good or bad? We're going to discuss the details as to what's happening in 100 plus pages of this new proposal. I also will talk a little bit about Central American program for parents to be able to bring their children to the United States. This is relevant for those who are from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. So thank you very much for joining. Do not forget to say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Do not forget also that in the end of my presentation, I will be answering some of your questions. So please type them up in the chat so I will be able to refer to them back after I'm done. Again, my name is Alina Shaltsova. I'm a practicing attorney. I practice immigration for 15 years in the United States. I help people from all 50 states and overseas, but I am located in New York. Hi, Ali. Hi, Salim. Thank you for joining. Please do not forget to share this. That's how the YouTube algorithm and Facebook algorithms are working. The more people are going to be sharing the program, the more people will be able to join because the video is going to be more popular online. And hopefully, more people are going to find useful information. So as we are waiting for something to happen in immigration, we're all hoping for some positive news with regard to immigration reform. And for a while, we have not heard as to what's going on with our elected officials. What is it that they're working on, right? What's going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you that today, on April 17th, 2023, we just received news that House Republicans are introducing a sweeping immigration bill. And I'm going to focus on, hello, hi, Kot. I'm going to focus on certain points, important points of this introduction of this new proposal. So, proposal mostly is focusing on border security as it's phrased, but in reality, it targets asylum seekers, and it contains several provisions that previously Trump administration tried to introduce, but those provisions were heavily criticized and rejected. But guess what? Slowly but surely, they're creeping back into our immigration system. Coupled with the fact that Title 42 is set to expire less than a month from now, and officials already stated that they will be using instead something called Title 8, that also going to give them power to expel those who are trying to come to the United States. Of course, now we have this new proposal. Will it actually become the law? Well, I do not know, but let's see what is focusing on. So first of all, it proposes again a ban for those who are traveling from a third country on their way to the United States, which will virtually mean everyone except for those who reside in Mexico, right? A country that has a border with the United States. Basically, it's going to have a test. If you could have filed for asylum in that safe country and you didn't, you will be denied asylum in the United States. Another provision is the one that is going to focus on how exactly you're coming to the United States, at the point of entry or not. So if you're coming, like many people coming through unauthorized points of entry rather than point of entry where there is a CBP inspection, you again will be denied asylum. Well, nothing new. Something like this was actually proposed by the Trump administration. Again, we also see $50 filing fee. You may be aware that currently a person who would like to file for asylum in the United States does not have to pay a filing fee. It is also true for some other humanitarian applications such as U visa, T visa, or VAWA, for example, or special immigrant status, Form I-360. And asylum applicants from usually very poor countries in the world, right, poverty-stricken countries, would be required to pay $50. Again, this is just a proposal. Nothing is set in stone, but that's the proposals. proposal that House Republicans came up with. Also, interestingly enough, they again going after the children and saying that unaccompanied, I'm sorry, not unaccompanied, children home minors, right, should be allowed to be detained with their parents. Again, it goes in discord with current regulations where if you are a child traveling with a parent, you cannot be detained with or without parents. Now they want again to cage up children. I really do not think it's a smart proposal right before the election year, because we all know how traumatic the experience was for those migrants who were trying to come to the United States with their children and were separated during the Trump policies. And I just recently actually encountered an article that a family was just able to reunite now 4 years later after they were separated at the border. But I guess lessons are never learned, and we have this provision again about detaining children, keeping children in cages, even though with parents, not separate, but still it is bad. So we're moving forward. Another thing that they're trying to eliminate is parole that's been used by Biden administration to authorize certain people, including people from Ukraine, to come to the United States and from Afghanistan and from Haiti and from Venezuela. So to come to the United States, they would like to limit administration's right to parole people in their sole discretion. But guess what else they're offering? They're offering or proposing to force every employer, from what I understand, to use E-Verify system. E-Verify system is usually used by employers that are employing certain group of people, usually those who have F1 OPT or work with for the government, large employers, to verify status, employment eligibility of people they're employing. To say fairly that every employee in the United States is supposed to do that, but we know that not every employer does that, verification of the employment status, but there is a difference between verifying it in-house and verifying it with the E-Verify system. I have to tell you that E-Verify system gives grief almost every employer. Sometimes it contains inaccurate information. Sometimes it creates problems for the employee with inaccurate information, but that's the proposal that they have right now. They would like every employer, if you're hiring somebody, to connect to this E-Verify system and verify employment eligibility of your future employee through the system. So what do you think? Will this bill become the law? Is that what was worth spending our tax dollars, our money on, instead of working on something that we actually will appreciate? Honestly, I think that it will never become the law. I think that the Democrats are going to push heavily against it. But again, you never know what's going on and what negotiations are being taken place, maybe in exchange for some sort of a immigration reform that people actually can benefit from. Some provisions of this proposal will become, we'll see, the actual life. But I do not know. You tell me what you think. You tell me if it was a good idea for them to do that. I'm referring to the House Republicans who just came up with this proposal. Now I would like to give you some updates with regard to Central American minors refugee parole program. Extremely important, guys. For those who are from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, if you guys have here status such as TPS, deferred action, withholding of removal, asylum pending, U visa pending, T visa pending as of April 11th, 2023, you can bring your unmarried, under 21 years old children who are nationals of those three countries and who are overseas in those countries to the United States. This program started or was announced before Trump administration. But of course, when Trump administration took office, they aborted the program. So for those people whose case was pending between 2014 and 2017 and was closed as a result of closure of this program, your cases will be reopened. Extremely, extremely important. Along with some other changes, for example, you will not have to now submit affidavit of support for those people who you're trying to bring, kids. And why is it important? You may be aware that if you, for example, have withholding or removal only, you cannot bring your child to the United States. You just don't have an opportunity to sponsor a dependent. But through this program, if you are from one of the three countries, you will be able to. You will be able to bring children of the qualifying child as well, in-country parent of the qualifying child, admin the 21 of the in-country parent, so you can bring siblings basically, children of the qualifying parent and their children and spouses, siblings of the qualifying child, and certain caregivers and of the qualifying child. So basically you will be able to bring the child and the parent of the child and siblings. Extremely, extremely important. It's a great tool. I wish it was allowed for more countries because, as I mentioned, people from other countries who are in this asylum forever pending status, right? You're very well aware sometimes you're waiting for the asylum for 5-7 years. You're waiting for the asylum interview. Or U visa pending status also takes like forever. C status actually does not take that long, much faster you can receive it. Or withholding or removal, you're stuck. So now people from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, at least somebody is lucky, if you can call it lucky, will be able to bring their children and those other relatives with them. Great program. Please do not overlook it. Please use this chance. Who knows what's going to happen in 2024? Extremely important to know that once it's been already terminated, this program, and basically you're going to be filing for parole for those children. And guess what? No one even need to submit Form I-134, which was probably one of the toughest requirements because many people are struggling with the income. And now all you need to do is to submit your statement instead of complying formally with the Form I-134. So these are the news. This is the news I wanted to discuss with you, and let me know please what you think. And now if you guys have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Let's see what we have. Hi Mohammed, hi John. Hi Ali, please let us know about 7 years immigration plan for undocumented people. You know, Ali, it was a good proposal. It would say that on a rotating basis, basically there will be no set deadline, such as if somebody came to the United States prior to 2015, they will be eligible to file for this registry provision. They would say if somebody can demonstrate they've been residing in the United States for 7 years from the point they filed the application, they will be eligible for registry. It's called rolling basis. So proposal was to give on a rolling basis people who's been residing in the United States for 7 years, those who can demonstrate they're persons of good moral character, opportunity to file for the green card. Great proposal, but to my knowledge still is just a proposal and nothing much is really going on with it. So this is something to keep in mind. I once saw a comment on my YouTube channel saying that, oh, wait, you're only sharing bad news. Why don't you talk about this registry? I don't talk about it because, unfortunately, nothing is being done. And I do not want to provide incorrect, encouraging information about something that is not happening yet. I mean, it's good to know that it may happen, but not yet. Would you agree, for example, to pass the bill that I just talked about in exchange for registry? You let me know. Would you sacrifice rights of asylum seekers for this opportunity? Tell me. It can be a tough choice. Maybe it's something that Democrats are thinking about. Hi Ahmed, hi Wakas, hi Musa, hi John, hi Kosa. Guys, we do not use WhatsApp for any communications from our office. Just know, hi, Honey Singh, New Jersey rocks. All right. If you guys have immigration questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I personally don't call back first-time clients. My secretaries do, and we agree on a meeting. So just for those of you who are leaving your numbers, just so you know. Oh, here we go. Hi, Equity Justice. Will Congress ever pass the Registry immigration update entry date? That's what I do not know. As I said, they're probably going to go through some sort of negotiations for that. And I mean, it can be, right? It can be very well that it can happen, but I doubt it's going to happen, to be honest, as of now. Hi, Michael. I just joined you live. What's the discussion? Discussion is about a new bill that was proposed by the House Republicans that would basically make it almost impossible to ask for asylum in the United States. And then we discussed, would we agree to accept that bill in exchange for registry provision? You tell me, would you do that? If you were somebody who is deciding the fates of thousands, millions of people and future applicants, would you say it's okay? We also have to remember that there are millions of people who are waiting for registry in the United States. So I think it would have been, if the choice was really placed before the elected officials, it would have been a very, very tough choice. Does the proposal include transit travelers before the US? Correct. The House Republicans bill by the House Republicans does include a transit ban. Basically, if you are transiting en route to the United States or some other territory, you would not be able to get asylum in the United States. This is tough. This is a tough situation, you know, very tough. Hi, Raza Khan. See, what do we have? Hi, Konstantin. Is it possible to apply for EB2 national interest waiver with pending asylum? Well, maybe. The thing is this, is it possible to apply for the first part, the grounds for green card based on EB2 national interest waiver? That's a firm yes. But is it possible to adjust status after it's granted or at the same time? The answer is maybe, probably not. Why? It depends on when you filed for your asylum and where you reside. Some districts say that if you manage to file your asylum claim prior to the expiration of lawful non-immigrant status that you had when you entered the United States legally, and then you got stuck in this forever asylum pending process, you'll be afforded an exception to the 245C ban on adjustment of status and allowed to adjust your status in the United States. But it can be difficult to convince USCIS or the judge in this theory, even though there are a couple of cases from the Board of Immigration Appeals confirming that some of such cases were granted. I cannot guarantee that it's going to happen in your case. But guess what? Perhaps if your EB2 national interest waiver is approved, you can look into closing your asylum case, traveling overseas, and receiving your immigrant visa and coming back with the immigrant visa. Risky, perhaps, but it's something that you need to think about, maybe, at least, right? And especially for those of you who have asylum pending before the interview, perhaps you can minimize the risk of leaving the country by receiving advance parole prior to leaving, and may help you this way. So this is something that may be possible. But hey, if you feel that you can qualify for EB2 national interest waiver, you should totally go for it. Hi, Zahid, a written plea with I-130 receipt notice to the court sufficient to terminate a removal proceeding. A judge will decide what's sufficient together with the prosecutor. So there was a time when upon filing, you didn't even have to file. You could just show the drafts of I-130 application, and adjustment of status application to the prosecutor and to the judge. We call it the Stokes package, and that would be sufficient to terminate one's case. Now it depends on the judge. Sometimes the judge would like to see an approved I-130, sometimes not. So hard to say. Also, the prosecutor. What does the prosecutor want? Extremely important, right? Extremely important. Hi, Michael. It says, if it were up to me, I would pass the bill. In the course of my travels, I met a lot of Africans and outsiders who could be of great contribution to the United States and world at large. We shouldn't rule out the possibility of growth due to the, where did it go? Due to the risks some negative folks may possess. Well, definitely. Listen, it's been proven that immigrants, for the most part, are very productive members of the American society. I think there were studies about refugees that were resettled in Buffalo and how much they contributed to the economy of Buffalo, and the studies were very positive. So you see, while Germany is making it easier to attract skilled workers, if you're following international news, international immigration news, you may know that Germany just passed the bill allowing skilled workers, even if when you don't have an employer, to come to Germany, and within a certain time you have to show that you have found something to do with employer, business, and so on and so forth. You started learning German. America doesn't do this. Basically, American immigration is based on either backlogged employment system, employment immigration, backlogged investment system, family immigration is also quite a nightmare, or backdoor, the southern border. Bad policy all around, very long processing times. I say bad policy because you can really improve the system. You can really get what you really want. Skilled labor, motivated, highly educated people, or people with potential. There are so many talented people who just never have a chance, right? So if you would like your economy to grow, your society to grow, you need this diversity. You have to have it. And Germany's got it. Germany's got it. They really are ahead of us. So we'll see what's going to happen. Hi, Equity Justice. Did you hear about DACA recipients being eligible for Medicaid? Do you have any info? Yes, heard it. Very easy to find. You can go to, I follow President Biden Instagram account, and that's how I get all this news. I mean, to my knowledge, not many DACA recipients really struggled with the health insurance. Again, my perspective, because I'm from New York. In New York, it's relatively easy to get health insurance. Thank God we have these plans, but in some states, I know it's not so easy. And again, I'm sure this proposal is going to happen. It's going to help many people. And yes, if you follow the White House news, you're going to see it. It's very easy to find it. All right. Hi, Zahid. I just answered your question. Hi, Rajith. About cancellation removal, chances of winning. Been here for 11 years, paid taxes, been active volunteer, helping the American Legion, have 2 kids who are US citizens. Not enough info. One of the main factors in cancellation removal is exceptional and unusual hardship that you have to show to your qualifying family members. Do they have any medical conditions? Is your country, or rather can your country provide the same level of medical care if qualifying family members need some medical attention? Maybe there are some other conditions or factors that need to be taken into consideration, trauma of some sort, hardships, learning, and things like that. But by itself, the fact that you have children and you're a person of good moral character, unfortunately, would not qualify you for cancellation removal. You need something more, especially if you're going to happen to be assigned to a tough judge, just so you know. Some judges are very tough guys, and prosecutors too. High transit, I mean the passengers are not allowed to go out from the airplane, but the plane transits there due to fuel-related issues. No, I don't think that would disqualify somebody. If you are in a transit zone, I mean, you don't even have a meaningful opportunity to file for asylum there usually. So, and as I said, I don't really believe that that particular proposal will see the light. I feel like it's a waste of time, and I think immigration community should grow impatient. Propose something real. If you would like to tweak asylum system here and there, do that. Encourage everybody to go through the ports of entries, but grant an exception if a person can show that they didn't have a choice. What if you're literally running for your life, right? You're running for your life. You don't have a choice. You're freaking out. You're looking for any opportunity. If you can show that, you have to be exempt from this rule. So I don't know. I feel that maybe it's a negotiating point. When you're in negotiations, you're not starting with a demand as to what you really want, right? You're starting with it up right there, knowing that you will have to settle somewhere in between. So maybe that's what it is. We'll see. Because elections are coming, and sooner or later they will have to probably address some sort of immigration proposal by Democrats. So room for negotiations. Hi, True Wisdom. Hope you're having a great day. My application has been in for the last 3 months. It's saying it's under review. Do you know when you would need to show your sponsor's financial? All right. Lost you. Financial. Well, it depends on what you filed for and when. When you filed for adjustment of status, you usually have to submit Form I-864 together with the package. If you're going through the National Visa Center, you also have to submit your financials as soon as possible, just because if you don't, you're going to be asked for it anyhow. So it's best to submit everything at once if you can, okay? But if you're in National Visa Center, sounds like it, just because National Visa Center loves dragging their feet, submit it now. Submit it now, as soon as possible. You can just upload ready documents to SEAC. Any update on pending asylum for 5 years now? Nope. You have to watch out not to miss your notice for interview. Many of my clients received such notices through their USCIS account. So guys, stay on top. Please stay on top. If you waited for your interview for 5 years, 7 years, you don't want to miss it, right? So stay on top of your account. Do that. And for those of you who would like to have a private consultation, please call my office 917-885-2261, and my secretaries will be glad to assist you and help you to book it. Hello. All right, what we see, somebody's advertising what Cyprus citizenship here. Oh, people in America would like to move to Europe. I mean, I won't judge you, but I do believe the United States is the best country for somebody who would like to feel as that they're protected on a personal level, can develop, especially if you have a business mind. You can make good money if you work for somebody else here as well. Usually it would require education, guys. That's I can tell you that. If you get bachelor's degree, master's degree, no matter what you hear online from this, I wouldn't call them pyramid schemes, but people who encourage you to join their organization rather than study. People in the United States with degrees make significantly more money than those who don't. There is a big difference if you have to be an hourly wage worker working minimum wage job, and you are an hourly wage worker, but you're with a degree, right? $50,000-$60,000 per year, not much in New York, but it can be more than enough if you live in a not such pricey area in the United States. And that would be the average which a person with the degree is going to receive. So if you can pursue education, I am a strong believer that it's the key, really. It's really the key. Unless you have a brilliant business mind, and I have so many clients who don't have degrees, but they're excellent business people, even without documents, legal status. So we're able to build almost empires, strong, famous construction businesses, retail businesses, something really of value, providing employment places for American citizens in the United States. And by the way, if you're one of those people, you may look into Parole for entrepreneurs. If nothing else worked for you, it will require a lot of effort. It will require to show that you have a qualifying investment, blah, blah, blah. But hey, listen, if you have some money and time, you may try it, right? Parole for entrepreneurs. It is for those usually who overstayed their visas, don't qualify for sponsorship by their children because maybe you never had a visa, for example. Maybe there are other obstacles of some sort. So look into it. I think I have a blog about it or a video or something I had. And you don't have to rely on me solely. Go to USCIS.gov and look into it. It can be a great, great thing. All right, let me take the last question for today. Hi, DTP. Can I have free health insurance and apply marriage green card later? Okay. Can you have it? Well, you may be able to if you qualify for it. For example, somebody is an asylum seeker. If you're an asylum seeker, you may qualify for that health insurance in certain states of the United States, and you will not be punished for it later. But usually, to my knowledge at least, a regular person, what we call undocumented, non-citizen, would not qualify for Medicaid, guys. Usually. No, unless maybe you're DACA recipient under the new law. So generally speaking, if you can, don't do that. If ever you will have to file for something called cancellation or removal, and you show that you or your children used Medicaid, you may be disqualified from it by certain judges. They will say that you don't have good moral character tapping into public benefits. So if you can, don't do that. Sometimes you can qualify, and again, I'm from New York, I'm talking about New York. Sometimes you can qualify for something called the essential plan. That's totally fine because somehow New York never been regarded to be a public charge benefit. Emergency Medicaid also it's not going to be a problem for you. And emergency Medicaid is going to cover a lot. God forbid you need a urgent surgery or you've been diagnosed with something unexpectedly. Emergency Medicaid is going to cover your treatment, guys. So it's pretty awesome, I have to say. I know some of you are going to say, well, we have to pay for this immigrants. Please, all right? We live in a civilized world. You see somebody is sick and need of help, you're going to just pass by and not give this person treatment? I think it's totally right to give people emergency Medicaid. And most immigrants, again, are contributing. They pay taxes and cannot get Social Security. Think about that. When you think that they're like on our necks and stuff like this, So if you can, don't use it. But if you have to use it to save your life, use it, and we're gonna deal with it later. Okay? That would be my best general advice. Again, do not know everything, but that would be my best general advice. Well, yes, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Facebook. We'll be happy to see you. We'll be happy to answer your questions. And I hope